Last time on Windchimes. Um, let's see what happened. Cecil got thrown in with Roderick, and the two of them had a slightly confrontational reconciliation of their position as Catherine's privileged to be put up in gladiatorial combat question mark or something in the near future. Um, situated in a stony cell with no real exit but a trap door like 30 feet above them on the corner of the ceiling. They didn't really have any real feasible escape options except Cecil found a grate that he was able to pry and pull up and then crawl down into with Roderick's help. So that's where Cecil is. Catherine, meanwhile, is... Remind me, Catherine's still up in the room her and Cecil were in, or did she...
I think she... I don't remember. I think she went... They said
They
it was
said-
go down
they
to the
said-
greenhouse now?
Yeah, they said their greenhouse was ready,
Right.
so they went to see that.
Perfect. So Catherine got dropped off at her greenhouse, which is not quite what she expected it to be. It's closer to just a big open garden that is occasionally frequented by somebody else on like maybe a stroll or something. There's no real cut and dry grids or rows or any real management or organization to the sporadic kind of flora that are found there. But she hasn't really had the chance to explore it much. So we'll get to that when we do. Meanwhile, the other three, Albus, Virgil, and Amalia, along with Centra, finished making the masks. They got to where they did after the long rest, and then Virgil got pulled into a something question mark. He was mentally pulled to an expansive salt flat bordered by mountainous, towering, rocky ridges, with some strange folks coming and going from different, I guess, social centers, like little spots on the landscape that looked like ruins were jutting out of, and they were doing some funky stuff there, painting on the walls. The people seemed to be made of stone, etc., and eventually one came and talked to him. And he learned that this is some kind of reflection in reality that's allowing Virgil to observe the civilization that calls itself Vestind. They have an affiliation with Haldorman, which Virgil found out through some sending spells that were cast by Amalia. And I remember the end of last session was a little murky, and what we decided ended up actually happening. Do you guys remember that?
Yeah, you decided that there were a bunch of previously unmentioned sending
Ley
thingamajigers that were now used up.
Perfect.
Yeah, say that there were a bunch of ley lines Amalia was exploiting, and now they can no longer be used for reasons beyond our ken.
So, after that, when hostilities seemed to be, the conversation was getting a little bit more of a hostile sort of intonation when Virgil started essentially poorly talking his way out of things and concepts that he should and shouldn't be familiar with to the Vestindians. It looked like they were getting a little hostile until all of a sudden a bunch of them transformed into a big stone scorpion-looking motherfucker. So he got out of dodge by how exactly?
We don't know, actually.
Looks at the camera,
Uh,
smiles. Great. So, did the thing happen with Razorface where you guys met him in Eden? Or is that
Yes, he was quite cordial.
All right, great. So, we'll say that those two things aligned. Virgil got pulled out when you guys went to sleep, quote unquote, knocked yourselves out, whatever you did. Unless that happened afterwards. Let me roll some stuff.
that, hap- that happened afterwards.
Oh my fucking god. Alright. Well.
I'll take whatever that crit was supposed to be, though.
Yeah, it happened.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't worry about it.
We'll take it.
Virgil drugged himself after coming back, so it doesn't look like going to sleep and him being pulled out of the Vestindian civilization's little quote unquote window. It doesn't seem like they were aligned. It seems like it was one happened independent of the other. And since you're not feeling too well, Shawnee, do you want to start with you?
Sure.
All right. Just in case you decide you want to end up leaving, which is not a problem in the slightest.
Right. Can't move anyway. Got a cat on my lap.
Sometimes that's how it be. Alright, Catherine. So, you have been forcibly led down to your greenhouse. And this greenhouse, upon entry, is more so just a stone archway on a tier far below the tiers you're used to, leading out to this open expanse bathed in sunlight at the current moment. It looks like there's a lot of mirrors, and the sunlight is coming primarily from the mirrors. It's like a network of like different refracting surfaces that gather the sunlight from all the way up above, like from the highest tiers of the hanging gardens, and reflecting the light down here. So you're pretty deep in the tiered gardens, but the way the mirrors are utilized, it makes it almost feel like this place is naturally bathed in sunlight, even though it's sort of clever machinations causing the ultraviolet light and obviously the infrared heat to be as omnipresent as they are here. There's many different pathways that kind of go up and around some dirt hills and some other stone ridges and little jutting irregular balconies. And there's just plant life all over the place. There's vines that crawl up and over the pathways. There's large flowers that look unique, that just like there's one specifically huge like root system that doesn't look like it appears anywhere else, but it's just kind of dominating like 30 feet, and then to your right it's very diverse, and you see a bunch of plants that you've heard tell of but you've never seen in person.
Cool.
So
wow. Are these plants labeled, or am I supposed to look them up myself?
nothing here seems to be labeled at all. It seems like, from your best inference, you asked Ozitra for a greenhouse, and the Fire family doesn't really have a greenhouse, so she sent you to what comes probably closest. The people that likely come here, of which there are very few. Like I've said, you've only seen one or two other people down here, and they're kind of just walking around, whether to clear their mind or in some kind of form of meditation.
Is anybody looking at me?
There's not enough people here. At least the two that you've seen haven't even noticed your existence.
Okay. I'm going to take out that big book of plants and try to see if I can identify some of the cool stuff here.
All right. Go ahead and roll a botany check and investigation.
Okay.
Literally, literally just eat the
Hi,
hot food.
Fergus.
Dude. Literally just
I
eat
guess not.
community.
So you you start doing your best to look around, and you get down to you're like, all right, might as well start at the bottom. So you go to the end of one of the pathways, one of the little stone walkways, and you crouch down and you start examining like the little flowery patches that are around the stonework, and you realize that the flora here is so diverse, and there's so much of it that if you were gonna you could stay here for years, and you don't think that you'd be able to accurately catalog everything here. Um, so it gets a little overwhelming, and pretty soon you kind of after writing down 3 entries, I'll say you get Ricotta, which is a flower that not emits, oozes a form of liquid coolant when it blooms. You get
Oh, I thought you said ricotta fan, as in like fan-shaped cheese.
no. You get Ozinatata, which is rope substitute, very powerful vine systems that grow rapidly when exposed to water. And
Ooh, and that gives me an idea for my next thing I'm working on.
perfect. And explosive mint leaves.
It tastes just a taste explosion in your mouth.
Sure.
All right, so I'm gonna take small clippings.
No problem. You can even take some seeds and harvest some of their reproductive parts to put in your like botany kit, so that you can
All
like
right.
grow these in the future. What did you need
Super.
for parts here? Because I remember you needed the greenhouse for something. Was it the parasite?
Both of them. Yeah, the parasite and the gun.
Okay, so do you want to work on
And
one?
you told me that I needed sun, dirt, and thermal shielding, and lilac tubulars.
So these mirrors basically work as thermal shielding. And lilac tubers, you can roll another investigation check to specifically go and look for the kind of environment they'd be in here, because you feel like this place has got to have lilac tubers. Yeah, you find them pretty easily. It's a bit of a ways away. Takes you about 20 minutes of just roaming the pathways, looking for a place with ample moisture. That also gets a little bit of shade, because you know that the lilac tubers typically need those, but you do find them.
All right. Well then. I'm gonna get to work on my clock, I suppose.
All right, how many more steps do you need?
10 for the X-ray parasite, and 4 for the for the cucumber gun.
All right, roll botany on whichever one you want to.
Right. Now I'm using animal handling for botany, right?
You can use anything as long as it's wisdom and you have proficiency.
I mean, I have with proficiency in medicine and perception and insight. I don't see an arcana. I don't see how those would necessarily help. I suppose
So
arcana.
you're.
No, arcana is never mind.
Hold on, let me check your character sheet real fast. Use your alchemist's tools. Sorry.
Okay.
Jeez,
Nice.
Okay. Um, and which one are you progressing?
I can only do one at a time. Okay, the
So
cucumber
you're
gun.
getting 6 total steps. You can finish the cucumber gun and put 2
Oh,
steps in the
then
other
in that
one,
case, yeah.
or you
Then
can
in that case,
put 6 in the other one and leave the cucumber gun for later.
no, I'll finish the cucumber gun for now, and put 2 more points into the X-ray
All right,
first.
great. You have finished your sunflower module. It's going to be a bonus action to switch between your sunflower mode and your explosive cucumber mode, and you kind of reckon that the gun, as it stands right now, has enough space for one more module until you're going to have to start replacing things. The sunflower module itself has a range of 20 feet and a disadvantage range of 60 feet. And before you roll attacks with it, you declare a maximum of 3 targets, so between 3, or between 1 and 3, as long as they're all in range, and then you roll a 1d4 plus 2. And the result of that roll is the number of attacks you make with your attack action, each dealing 1d6 plus intelligence damage.
Awesome. Could you send me the thing?
I sure can.
All right. This is really fun.
And
Okay.
as probably a couple hours in, as you're working on this, you notice one of the Fire members with the long flowing white robes and a face mask is kind of peering intently at you from a good 25, 30-ish feet away. They're kind of, they're trying to look inconspicuous. You can't really tell what they're about. But they are carrying something. It's like a basket.
Oh. Hello? Do you need any help with any plants or anything?
So you call out to them, and they kind of look up, and they don't really respond at first. They begin to hesitantly make their way over. And as they get closer and closer, you realize the clothes are a little different, but you do recognize this person. It is Thessel. And
Oh, hey, Fessel.
she holds up the basket and shows you the contents. She has brought you more food.
Ooh, thank you. You're my best friend here.
I hadn't seen you around, but you know, asking some of the right people the right questions, and you can learn quite a bit. I thought maybe you still weren't really sure how to get food around here, and maybe you were hungry, so. Whoa, what's that? What are you working on?
Oh, it's a gun.
A what? Like a.
Well, you see, I put the seeds in here, and then I and then I load it in here, and then I press this twisty thingy, and then I pull this vine,
Wait.
and then it shoots out
How
stuff.
is it mechanical if it's comprised of plant matter?
I mean, haven't you ever seen anything made of wood? Or
I guess that's true. This is something you made?
oh, yes. I make things in my spare time.
Oh,
Some of them are things, some of them are potions, but the things are really fun, to be honest.
that's quite impressive, actually. I can hardly make anything myself.
Why, thank you.
Um, I She stammers a bit without really getting to a point. Roll insight. You can tell that something's wrong, but you're not sure exactly what.
So, did you find out anything more about those carvings?
She sits down on a stone protrusion that's just off the off the beaten path of the walkway, and she sighs while taking her mask off and procuring a fruit from the basket, taking a big munch out of it. It takes her a good 30 seconds to finish her contemplation before she looks at you, seemingly disregarding your question, and she says, "I'm concerned. Things around here are not very normal for the past little while.
You don't say.
Well, we would hardly get any visitors such as yourself, whether or not they were brought by Azitra. Not to mention, her and the rest of the White Brood, not even just the Alarum, they're all acting fairly strange, but... Well, I'm probably just going to keep going along with it like I always do. Do you know anything?
I mean, I hear there was some sort of thing where a guy got in and beat up someone else the other night, but
Oh, heavens.
other than that,
It's a little more complicated than that now. That was yesterday, and today two of the huntswomen have even gone missing. Those are the fiery members in the black robes, if you weren't aware. There's sort of been not an evacuation, but an incentive put forward not to go exploring on the lower tiers, and that's the first time I've ever heard of such a thing happening.
well, thank you for warning me.
Oh, I think you have to stay here. Like here in the... She sort of air quotes the greenhouse, you called it?
So they called off the privileged match?
You mean the fiery mass?
I mean, you know, when they usually fight with the privileged.
That's typically at the conclusion of the fiery mass, yes. It is the finale, so to speak.
Okay, so they're not doing that yet.
It's going to be a few days.
Ah, okay, I see. Thank you so much for putting my mind at ease, my friend.
Well, do you have something against the fiery mass's finale?
Ah, well, I was just worried that my people weren't going to be prepared. I mean, one of them already, he caught a bit of a sickness a few weeks ago, and he's not entirely up to fighting. Certainly wouldn't be if it was, you know, if it was like this afternoon or something. But I can check him again in a few days, and maybe he'll be, you know, feeling better
I see.
by then.
Hmm.
Yeah, I tried to talk to Azitra about it, but she was busy, and
Thistle kind of cocks her head and says, I've never seen anybody with as much of an attachment to their privileged as you.
yeah, well, I mean, where am I going to get another one as good?
If he's as good as you say, then you shouldn't have any need to worry, should you?
Yeah, but if, you know, if he's as good as I say, but right now he's feeling out of sorts, and I let him fight while he was not up to full strength, I mean,
That would be a shame indeed. She sort of
Yeah.
scratches her chin and thinks to herself, none of this would be happening if she didn't shorten the gap.
sorry, what did you say?
Oh, excuse me.
No, I meant that I'm asking Eric.
Yeah, she kind of talked under her breath, so it makes sense that you didn't really hear what she said that well. I really shouldn't explain. It's kind of confidential.
But what are friends for?
Roll persuasion. You want to exert that?
Sure. I roll one hit dice.
Yep. Alright,
Okay.
17. She kind of puffs her cheeks out as she has this internal struggle of whether or not she's going to tell you. And then she scoots a little closer and says, In the past few months, it has seemed to me, at least, that Azitra has grown frustrated with the fiery mass. And as a result, this month, she called the mass closer. By,
Oh.
do you don't know anything about that, do you? Should I explain?
I'm a bit of a newcomer here.
To do so, to call the mass closer, is to manipulate the cosmos by indebting yourself to the antlered god and hurrying the moon along its path. I'm just...
Does it have anything to do with making the sun not rise?
It, it was the cause of that, yeah.
Oh, I see. So she's
Essentially...
really in a hurry for this fighting and dancing.
Essentially, she just, shortened the month by over a week. Is usually how it works out. And if she hadn't done that, your friend would be in fighting shape by the time the mass came around. But it's not as simple a thing as reversing it. What has been done cannot necessarily be undone, and all I really have the capability to do is lament about it. That said,
I suppose I'm going to have to use my other privilege then.
you...
My backup privilege. Now that I know that it's going to be him, and especially, I want to talk to him a bit about strategy. And,
She sort of quirks her eyebrow quizzically and resigns herself to just not really knowing what you mean. As for the carvings that you asked about, all the way when, she waves her hand. I haven't found anything else out, no. I do still enjoy looking at them. What about you? Have you discovered anything? Any new epiphanies?
not really, unfortunately, aside from the fact that the centipedes can turn into things, I think.
The centipedes? Like the ones comprising the staff?
Yes. I forget which book I saw it in. It was in some picture or other, but it showed them transforming.
Thessel something catches her eye, and you realize that all of a sudden she's looking at a cocoon that is hanging off of one of the leaves nearby, and she says, maybe they're more like caterpillars if they change into things.
That makes sense.
And with that, we are going to, we find ourselves looking over Cecil's shoulder as he is crawling through the stony ducts underneath the privileged cells.
Yes.
And apart from the extreme heat that you can feel seeping up from underneath,
Yes.
yeah, a pretty distinct smell slowly wafts in front of you. It's kind of just the lingering smell of something that's probably a little bit of a ways away, but it smells.
Didn't we
It smells very clearly like decay.
I see. Didn't we immediately leave off on there being a fiery member just wandering down the vents? I'm pretty sure we ended on that.
As in crawling through them?
No, there was a fiery member just flat out in the vents, parallel to Cecil, as far as I recall.
Fuck, I was gonna get to that. All right, so you've smelt the smell of decay. You've crawled.
Yes, the smell of decay is lit
for a bit, and yeah, there's a fiery member, probably
just
like 10 feet in front.
Black or white?
You can't really tell. It's really dark. You only smell them.
Dark vision, dark vision, dark
Dark
vision,
vision
dark
is
vision.
grayscale.
Shit. Well, yeah, exactly. Do they look whiter or blacker?
They look like a person. There's no color differentiation.
Oh, you're right. Damn. All right. Well, how do you sneak in this sort of situation? Doesn't matter. Cecil, seeing this person, goes prone and attempts to sneak around them.
As you get closer, it's you realize pretty quickly that it's gonna be real easy to sneak around a dead person.
Oh, it's a dead person.
Yeah, in fact, it's the guy that you killed.
Wait, how'd they get here then?
You don't know. Maybe body disposal.
Oh.
It's your first instinct, anyways. You kind of recognize their face at first, and it's the same expression that they had like right after they thonked their head, and lights out.
Bruh. Cecil, like, just kind of, like, looks away and walks past. He's like, oh, shit.
That said,
Not a fan of...
it doesn't seem like the smell of decay was particularly coming from them. Their body
Yeah,
may have...
this is the... The vents are also the eating system where the bodies are dropped and the hands come out and eat the bodies. Anyways, Cecil continues. Looking for a vent out.
So you're
specifically.
looking for the first grate that appears above you?
Maybe not the first one, just like a good picture of what this place looks like.
All right, so you start crawling, and it branches off the first time, going straight down and also straight in front of you. So you have to kind of climb over a hole.
Okay.
It's not too
That's
hard,
doable.
but
No,
also
no.
if you want to descend, you can descend.
Yes. Whole time.
All right.
It's time to get into the hole.
Well, the smell of decay is coming much more powerfully from this hole, and you start to hear some rasping and scratching against the stone far beneath you.
Interesting. All right, let's see how deep this rabbit hole goes.
All right, music change. What's it called? Thank you.
Hell yeah.
You are kind of sort of pressing your back up against the one of the walls of this chute, going straight down and slowly walking down the other side with your legs. Because there's
Yes.
no other way to get down, and thankfully it is tight enough that you can pretty comfortably do that. And after descending up probably a good 30 or 40 feet, it starts to widen slightly, and much larger blasts of just these gusts of the smell of decay and this sort of rank stench just waft up from beneath you to above you.
You'll love to see it.
Uh,
Cecil begins to investigate the area. Trying to look around as best as he can, really.
so
While
So you look beneath you, and it's kind of a big. You can't see the walls, maybe because of your vantage point, but the chute deposits into a room, and this is definitely where the smell's coming from. And there's a lot more bodies beneath you.
Great.
There's also, you sense some movement, like with long periods of time between it, just like some of the corpses, like briefly shuffling or moving in a muffled way before going still again, and it happens in a few different locations. Roll insight.
Nice. I will roll insight. 21.
Seems like something's moving beneath them.
Great. And are these all fire ray corpses?
You can't really see in enough detail. They're a good 30 feet below you.
All right. Um.
So you've still got your back pressed up against the one of the walls of this chute. You're either going to have to drop in or find some way to crawl along the ceiling.
Could I not just peek my head down?
Yeah, you could
Just,
move yourself
just like
upside
do the.
down.
Yeah, could I not just do the Jackie Chan thing where the tips of my toes are hanging on the ledge as like my body is kind of hanging off it to get a better look at something beneath me?
No, yeah, that's how you're looking at the
Yeah.
area. But to get in, you're gonna have to drop in.
Could I not just hang down from that vantage point?
That's still
As
not
in, like,
getting to ground level.
yeah, that I'm not attempting to get. I'm not trying to stand on the bodies, Eric.
Yeah, that's fine. All I'm saying is to get into the room, like to the.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. Just like all I'm saying is that is there a way I can kind of get down while also having an easy way of just skedaddling?
Um, maybe if you had some rope and hammered something into the wall of this chute so you could climb back up.
All right, yeah, nah. Cecil was already creeped out at like the body pile, but noticing that there's movement and the fact that there's no like easy escape staircase, he's just gonna crawl back up the hole.
All right, you do so fairly easily.
That's scuffed. Change the music.
And
I'm not going into Yahargul yet.
pretty soon after, as the rank stench is sort of fading behind you, you come to a
Yeah.
grate. This one's to your right, not above you,
Ooh.
and you smell a familiar scent.
Oh yeah.
It is of a person that you remember. Roll history.
Okay. There it is. 11.
Can't remember quite who, but it's definitely someone, a member of the Black Flight crew.
Oh shit. Okay. Um, how easy were these grates to open?
You can open it pretty easily. You're
All right.
just whomp.
Cecil. Yeah, Cecil looks around for a sec, makes sure that it's not like filled with fiery people.
It looks like
and then-
it leads to the same sort of room that you and Roderick were in.
oh, epic. So yeah, Cecil pops it open, like kicks the vent in basically.
And the sole inhabitant is sitting cross-legged in the corner, looking intently at their right arm. It is Guido.
Oh, sweet. Cecil steps into the room. Hi.
He looks up. Oh, what a surprise.
Yeah, I've come to attempt to break you out.
I see. So, Guido's got quite a bit going on around him. There's a whole bunch of metal pieces of just stuff. Kind of. Basically, he looks like a kid who took out a big bucket of Legos and dumped it out and is just sitting in the middle of it. Except instead of Legos, it's a bunch of little mechanisms made of brass and iron and steel. And it looks like there's a significant part of his body that has been disassembled. And he's kind of tinkering with things. And his one of his eyes, it looks like it's sort of been retroformed into this sort of mechanical contraption that's whirring and revolving and glowing with a very slight yellowish light that allows him to see in this zero light condition. And he says, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't really expecting a savior. However, this should make my job a little easier. Let's get a good grasp of what we're working with. What systems are in place to get us out of here right now?
A single hand glider and an altitude controller. That's all I could get, essentially.
What exactly is an altitude controller?
You spin it in air and it stops and you can hang on to it.
He holds out his one intact hand and he says, "Could I see it?"
Yes, yeah.
So he
And
fucks around with the altitude controller for a bit, and he's like, "Wow, this is really fucking cool." Hands it back to you, and he says, "I see. So looks like if things go poorly, we have a good exit strategy for at most 2 people."
yes.
Well, I'm building a gun.
Oh, I see. Well, good luck. Do you know where everyone else is?
Silverblood was dragged off. She was given explicitly no time to recover from her injuries, and, well, this, what you see in front of you, I am degrading some of my metallic biology to transmute a portion of myself into said gun, and it's going to take probably the better part of today to finish. However, I have made some profound work in the past few hours.
I see. Well, you could always. Wait, were there any other cells looking like this one that were nearby?
I couldn't tell you. This is where I woke up. Silverblood
I
was
see.
down here with me. As for who else got taken, I couldn't tell you that either. Allow me to... He sort of gets a little bit more of a like a steadfast and a stern expression, as opposed to the one of pleasant surprise that he had at you arriving. I'm not as concerned with saving everybody as you might be. I just want to get myself and Silverblood out.
That's. Well, I mean, there weren't that many others, so I suppose I would like to get all of them. I see. Well, I can look for silver blood while you make your fire arc. You don't mind me going up the way, you know, you were dropped in here, you know?
How did you get in here? Didn't actually see.
There's a ventilation system that you can go in and out of.
Oh, of course there is. There has to be some form of air passage. I would recommend you keep using that.
If you insist.
The cell that I'm in, it doesn't exit into a place I think you'd enjoy. I don't know if it's a headquarters, if that's what you're wondering, but there were quite a bit of armed guards last time I tried to get out.
Well, I'll see you in a bit then.
Well,
If-
hold on. And he sort of takes a whirring piece of metal and he hands it to you and he says, "You can accompany this with a written message and it will find its way back to me,
I see.
just in case you need it."
Right. Thank you. I'll go through the ventilation system. I'm assuming if the silver blood is, well, alive, she too will have some sort of ventilation system that I will be able to navigate through.
Here's hoping. And he gets back to work. You go back down?
Yeah. Down they go.
Alright, so
I mean,
you're crawling once again through the vents, and they kind of just start jarringly turning to the right over and over again while descending slightly. There's no real breaks in the path anymore, and there's also no more real like grates of the same kind that you entered through and then found Guido's cell through. However, how long do you want to keep going?
well, his entire goal is to break Silverblood out, so just going.
All right, so it's probably a couple of hours until you get here, and it's like a little doorway, like a whole ass double doorway that, if it was a lot larger, would look super normal in the Cherus district. But you've got this Alice in Wonderland looking ass door, and it's like right to your left, and you would have to crawl through. But per- conceivably, it leads to some kind of room.
Awesome. And so he does. He's just going.
So
This
you
was his entire goal to begin with, anyway.
So
He's may as well.
you open the door, and these cobwebs just start pulling from the other side, and they
Ugh.
kind of snap as you sort of make your way in. And next to one of the sides of the door, as you sort of get the whole of your torso in, there's some basically long destroyed tomes just wasted away by the passage of time. And further in, these same kind of decrepit books are stacked all over each other, and forming these massive piles that just fill the room. The room itself is decently sized. It's a little smaller than one of the cells, and you smell something in here too. It's kind of what would that smell like? I guess it smells like olives.
Bruh. Alright. Um what's redescribe the room?
So you're in a little cramped room with a way too small door leading in that you had to crawl through, with ruined books that have been aged down to nothing by time, piled all over each other. And you see some wooden remnants of what could be furniture underneath some of the piles, but it's unrecognizable just by how much stockpiling and hoarding there is going on here.
Huh, okay. So Cecil just kinda just says hello.
And you see some more rustling that looks almost identical to the rustling of the corpses down in the pit that you elected not to drop down into, as
Scary.
something moves around underneath the books. And
Amnesia ass looking. Uh
a couple of the books fall down as it peeks its weird head up and goes, "Oh, a visitor.
yes.
Oh, it's been a very long time."
It appears so, yeah.
This head is like an eel head. It's long and oily and slick with moisture. It looks a little viscous. And
Uh,
it doesn't have any eyes, and it has a circular mouth on the front of its head. And it sort of continues emerging out from underneath the piles of books and kind of slithers down.
what you do here,
Allow me
buddy?
to introduce myself.
Oh yeah, yeah. Hi.
I am Professor Thames.
Professor Tim, did you say, Eric?
Thames!
Oh, Tim.
It sort of wheezes this corrosive substance off to the side that sizzles through the cover of one of the books. Oh, and I am due for a rebirth.
It appears so. Are you are you is this your room?
This is my classroom, yes, here in Pathoktalak.
I would argue that this might not be that spot, considering that we are currently a few, perhaps a mile, maybe 2 miles above a basin. Is that?
Its tail kind of slithers out of another portion of the books and just idly closes one of the doors, but it leaves the other one open. And then as he's responding, it sort of wrestles like one of those old timey desks that has the chair attached to it out from underneath some books and sets it up nearby for you to sit in and says, "Yes, Pathoktalak, indeed, sits on some very large, finely architected stone pillars that raise it
Oh,
above the ground."
then, well, uh, right, yeah, no, yeah. I mean, I'm, I've got some stuff to do, but I mean, sure. So
Oh,
Cecil sits down at the desk.
oh, no, I mean, you're free to leave, but I haven't had students in a very, very long time, and I would very much like to at least teach you something. What is your name?
I'm Cecil. It's a pleasure to meet you, Hittems. I'm just curious. What do you teach?
Uh, three rather complex courses, mostly to do with reincarnation, Vestindian biology, and star striding.
Star striding.
Indeed, star striding. It's the traversal method to the black sky.
I see. Does this course end with someone attaining that level of knowledge in which that they could utilize it?
Now that I see I have your attention, he sort of coils in probably a happy way.
Cecil kind of laughs at the fact that that's what got his attention too. Like, old people.
I I suppose to delve into it at a surface level, it's something that was very, very key in, well,
Good girl. Good
where to begin. And he starts just talking about the fact that star striding was kind of the method that some kind of society called the Vestindians used to visit a place that they called the Black Sky, which Professor Thames describes as the nothingness on the other side of a scar that was torn into reality that transcends planar differentialism. And
Right.
go ahead and roll intelligence to see how
What?
much you can apply this stuff to
Okay,
things
fine.
you know.
18.
You realize that the black sky is what accommodates Eden.
Oh, that's fun.
And
Oh, I was.
you probably do some star striding unknowingly when you go to sleep.
Cecil raises his hand.
What is it?
Um, I think, I've done that before. Actually, I think I've starstruck. I think that's something I've genuinely done.
That is either very impressive or quite dooming.
Yeah, it happens almost every time I go to sleep. I'm sent to this is a bit difficult to explain. I'm sent to a dream world along with multiple other people who are tangible and physical and recall the dream as well. And it's a bunch of things, of interesting things. It it appears to be some sort of connected dimension in a way.
Interesting. Though I am an expert on the methods of traversal, I know very little about the black sky. And whatever dreams that you say these are, you say that you're somehow linked to other people and pulled there through sleep, which makes sense.
Yeah. Um.
Would you consider yourself more native to either this place or the black sky?
Uh. well, not this place specifically. I'm an Eshivai native. Um, I've consider myself more of a native of here, I suppose. But that doesn't. I mean, yeah, yeah.
That is unfortunately much closer to the dooming side of things.
Okay.
Hmm.
How much dooming are we talking about?
It bodes ill for what I know of that place. A pile of failed experiments and botched creations. If you're being whisked there, that is at the doing of something that originates in the black sky. Whereas if you were to call that place more of a home, then it makes a lot more sense that you would accidentally find yourself here, as this is much more a natural world.
Yeah. Actually, I think I, I think I also know who did the dragging. Actually, what? Sorry, I'm speaking a bit erratically just because I'm not exactly an expert on this sort of thing. But I've I mean, not many people have probably done this, so I mean, I don't know. Um, I, I it's a bit hard to explain. It's a large ice creature.
I'll be perfectly honest, I am fascinated in the current conversation, but going forward, I don't think I'll be able to provide you with any of the answers I think you're looking for.
That's all right. I mean, I haven't really been expecting answers since I've got here. I do actually have a question though. Do have you seen a person? Nah, this is a dumb question. Never mind. Uh,
Do
why are you?
do you happen to have
Hmm?
any questions about my other two subjects of expertise?
Yeah, no, I do. I'm also a bit antsy because one of my friends was kidnapped. Never mind. Yeah, just tell me about the other two. Actually, that sounds rather
Well, the
interesting.
first was, of course, reincarnation, and the second being the biology of the Vestindians themselves. And he sort of coils down around some more books and just pulls them out of the way to reveal a chalkboard. And he looks around and he goes, My, it seems all my chalk has disintegrated. A shame.
Uh,
Well,
wow, you've been here for a while.
I, um, I am an ego. I cannot remember my past lives, but I have certainly had them. We egos leave behind imprints of knowledge for our future selves, while omitting things like aspects of personality or emotion, as we don't feel those are worth passing on. They are more fleeting.
Oh, okay. Um, that's very fascinating, actually. Yeah. If I mean, it's unfortunate that you don't have chalk to write anything down. Um, could I come back?
I would love it if you came back, especially if you came back with some more information on exactly what you are. Perhaps the
Oh,
names of the things that are enslaving you.
yeah. That's a problem. It's trying very hard to keep its anonymity, so we might have to wait.
I have been waiting a very long time. One last thing about me. Egos were the partners of Vestindians. So, though I don't remember them, I am inherently tied to them. We were created after the image of Haldorman to be everlasting.
Uh, I see. I don't know the name, but I'm
He just keeps ranting.
yeah. So after he's inevitably finished, if he ever finishes, Cecil kind of like nods and is like, "All right, well, um, I'm going to go see if I can't rescue my friend. Um, one last question, actually. Do they? Do the people who live here right now know you exist?
What do the people that live here right now call themselves?
The Fire Ray.
I've never heard that in my.
uh, seems like they don't know everything after all. That's quite funny. But yeah, no, I've got stuff to do. Is there an exit from here other than the door I came in from?
I could create one for you.
Please, I'm fascinated.
I was about to warn you of the insatiable egos that are no doubt going to be here, which are my kind, except having gone mad on consuming other things' brains. As I've had a few run-ins with them, and they're particularly nasty. But no matter, where would you like to go? And
Um,
he just projects an image of. It's a little overwhelming. You just get this complete blueprint in your mind of the entirety of the tiered gardens.
ooh, all right. Can I identify the cell blocks?
Um, it's gonna be a really hard intelligence check.
Like, how hard are we talking?
The cell blocks are very small, and the tiered gardens are fucking huge.
Is this like a crit only, or is this like an actual
I'm gonna
number?
say DC 26.
Okay. Mm, let's. If it's close at all, then I'll go.
Yeah.
I could get an 11 with my hit if I pushed myself. I could get a 10 if I pushed myself. That would be
You know
26.
what?
Damn.
You know what? I'll give it to you with a 24. Yeah, you identify specifically 3 cell blocks, and one of them looks kind of caved in. Uh, you identify which ones was Guido's, and then which one you and Roderick were in, and
Yeah.
it doesn't seem like there would be one correlating to silver blood. However, with 24, you have some guesses as to where she might be held.
Okay.
One place would be up in the much higher echelons of the tiered gardens that you don't even really get to. So, just for reference, I'm going to freehand this.
No, don't. It's not. It doesn't help.
We've got this, then we've got the lower tiers, right?
I guess. Yeah.
The
I think.
Ow! Hi!
the upper
Stop that.
tiers are like right here and like through this whole thing.
I'm warning you now. This just looks like
That's fine.
scribbles.
Through this whole
better.
thing, like this midsection is sort of the higher tiers.
It looks like nothing.
And then like way up here in the penthouse of the tiered gardens.
You're just shitting.
That's sort of a place
I understand the concept. Don't worry, Eric.
up here in like the so like yeah, you get it. A place. He wants to send you to a place, and it looks like it makes sense.
All right. Okay. So there's one option for the Adea possibility.
There's 2 actually. One which
Oh.
is the spaces beneath the Colosseum itself, and then the space above the Colosseum itself, because it does sort of arch over and reach like the walls come up and meet over the Colosseum in a ceiling, and then there's like I said, a penthouse above that she could be
Yeah.
in.
All right. Cecil points to the penthouse and is like, "I've got to go there."
All right, and you get vooped in to a very furnished room.
Epic.
You kind of blink, and you're no longer in the dusty old room that you were talking to Hitem's in.
Cool.
Nobody else is in here. There's a few couches that are carved from the stone and adorned with these sort of velvet red pillows. There's a little bath with a fountain feeding into it that breaks through the wall and oversees like a really nice sort of view over the canopy of the jungle.
All right. How robbable does this place
It
look?
looks pretty robbable. It looks very robbable, in fact.
What are some robbable items of note?
Roll investigation.
All right.
Um, there's a good amount of books. There's a lot of gemstones. There's the gemstones look weird. The gemstones look like they're sort of discarded carapace that's been grown out of. Um, like one looks like a snake skin, except for
Okay.
an arm because it has a
That,
hand at the end that's been split
that's
open.
that's really cool.
Um, there's a lot of makeup stuff that looks really expensive. There's really big ornamental like mirrors with a bunch of filigree around
Are
the
there
outsides.
desks?
There's not really many desks. There's a decent amount of drawers, but there
All right. So Cecil begins to just go through the drawers because this clearly isn't the right place. But
you find like probably fucking let's roll for it.
hell yeah.
Wow. You find 9,754 gold pieces.
Bruh.
Just
Cecil just like
just total. I'm
See,
gonna say 5K of that is in sellable gemstone.
Cecil takes the money. Cecil just fills his pockets up with the money.
You have a lot of fucking cash. Um,
Um. Also, okay. So there's a balcony.
well, it's like a bath balcony, like a swimming pool that goes into the outdoors.
All right.
More like a jacuzzi.
Where exactly is the ship
The like
from here? Our ship.
you can't.
All right.
So you're looking out over the river. So you're looking this way
Okay, that makes sense.
because there's
All right.
obviously geographical clues.
Yeah. Okay. So since this is obviously not the right place, unless Adea is here and just like chilling, there's a door to the other rooms, right?
It looks like there is a descending staircase that is the sole exit of this room, other than this like jacuzzi balcony. That
All right.
that said, while you're out here, you do see something all the way over here. There's a big, like, huge fucking etching into this cliff face that looks like a big ass carving that is slowly from the bottom filling with red light.
I have a wait. So Guido gave me a messenger thing, right?
Yeah.
Um, is it reusable or is it one time?
He said that you can like fucking give it. So essentially, wind up toys.
Yeah.
If you hand this thing a letter and wind it up, it'll find its way back to Guido and give him the physical letter.
All right. So Cecil takes out a pen because screw. Just eat shit. He has a pen. Um. Uses like the half ripped up garbage piece of scroll that didn't get burned for kindling because apparently I still have that. Writes loads of cash high tier in the high tiered gardens and sends it back to Guido.
Fuck yeah. Oh, this is
Uh,
really hot. Oh, that was super hot.
Are you okay?
Sorry, what? You're
Okay.
That would have been way better, and I'm sorry that I took it. No, Tiffany just handed me tea, and it was boiling water, and my ceramic mug does not have a very
Yeah.
high specific heat, so
Yeah.
I
That's
just
funny.
got fucked. Anyways,
But yes.
loads of money in
So,
penthouse to Guido.
yep.
Fuck yeah.
Cecil descends down the staircase cautiously, hand on Death in the West.
All right, so this staircase doesn't really go all the way down. You can
Okay.
feel it kind of going like it's so this staircase is descending like a dome, and so it starts a little like unshallow and then gets shallower, right? Sorry, it starts a little shallow and gets steeper as you're moving down. It's kind of moving in a spiral pattern. Uh, Pretty soon
Alright.
it becomes completely open air, and then starts to descend into the tiered gardens themselves up to a level at which you find completely unfamiliar.
Okay, cool. Epic.
And
Uh,
you smell a Zitra.
bruh. Alright. Cecil returns back up, uh, hangs out the hang glider. Um, I would. Is there a way to finagle himself back down to the tier that he was on?
You don't have any experience hang glidering, nor aviation in general. However, you could just jump and try.
You know what? Better idea. Yeah, Cecil just like considering where they are, it wouldn't be terribly hard to get back to it wouldn't be terribly hard to get back to the Amalia crew, would it?
Probably not.
Okay.
It would take a little bit, but you could do it.
Uh yeah. I mean, they're gonna go there anyways.
That is the plan.
And Cecil could ostensibly still make up for the fact that he was missing by going to the mass with them and then just going back into the cell.
So, number one, actually, no, yeah, that could work. However, you're also really stealthy. Like, you could probably make your way around to Zitra.
You you know, you're right. You're saying that, and you know what? I'm gonna go for it. Wait! Hold up! This is a Zitra's room, right?
Seems to be.
Cecil's gonna look for the materia.
Hell yeah!
There you go. Now he's thinking.
Go ahead and roll another investigation check.
Think.
20, and I'm gonna. Do I need.
Fuck no, you don't. You got a 10 last time. That's why you only got money. It was a DC 12 to find the materia. There it
Bruh.
fucking is. And as you touch it, Death in the West doesn't writhe, but you feel your existence kind of weirdly bubble. Like you feel some good feelings when you're touching the materia, almost like touching it gives you the same high that being drunk does.
I kind of want to swallow it.
A little bit, except it's too big to even fit into your mouth. Have you ever tried to eat like a small bowling ball?
It's true.
That's not really how it works.
All right.
And we are going to cut to Amalia
just chilling in a Zitra's house.
and Albus and Virgil.
Yeah.
You have all just been basically left by Mr. Razorface. He vacated Eden after giving you all some exposition and telling you that he was going to kill you, Amalia. But that there was no need for him to do it there because he knows that it is impermanent if he does it there.
He also mentioned something about forgetting, which seems to be him dropping some sort of key. But
Now here's the
no
thing.
telling on that yet.
Here's the thing. You guys are all sitting on a very large brass railless balcony overlooking the massive cavity that imprisons the indestructible in the midst of the prison that is Antikythera. And something starts to pull its way out of the indestructible before your very eyes and very close to you. The locking mechanism holding one of the indestructible's arms to your left, probably a good 200 feet away, which is a good distance, but the scale of this place puts 200 feet much closer to you than a lot of the other places here. It looks like a shadow starts pulling itself out of the top of the arm of the indestructible, writhing like a tentacle before trying to it looks like it pulls out at the tip and is sort of trying to escape as it gets further down the limb, and it's having more and more trouble as it gets closer and closer to like the actual torso of the creature. And fingers manifest at the end of this shadowy tendril and just sort of fall over you and just crunch down into the brass balcony. You guys are all between two of the fingers, but the whole thing just teeters down under the force of the grasp. And roll insight, any and all of you.
Wait, if this is in the dream, does that mean? No, wait. We already established this, right?
Established what?
Is this in the dream?
Yeah,
No.
they're currently in the dream.
We're in Eden.
But we are not.
Correct. You and
Okay. Right. I forgot.
Great. I'll give you a little extra, Caro.
There goes my crit for the day.
That's not how. That's not how probability works.
Yeah, I see a QTE prompt anywhere.
Alright, so all three of you recognize this. It's an echo pulling itself out of the indestructible. And Virgil, you realize, like that arm looks super similar to the giant diagonal tree trunk that is underneath the ship. And you realize that the crawling Acalia is sort of a legend for a reason. Because whatever sort of explanations people in reality have given the crawling Acalia probably aren't true. Because the crawling Acalia is just the same thing as the indestructible.
Oh, fuck.
Which probably means that it is now active, and it was very close to your bodies while you were sleeping. So now might be a good time to wake up.
We have to get up. It's time to get up. Oh shit.
Hey,
Shit.
you think?
Fuck.
Uh,
The Acalia, the big fucking Trent thing, it's basically the denizen.
yeah,
It's basically the same side of the coin. This fucking
Yeah,
goddamn motherfucking son of a.
exposition later.
Yeah, exposition later, waking up now. By the way, personally, fuck it. Later.
Alright, so, you guys yeet yourselves off and roll initiative.
Fucking tree.
That's hilarious.
There goes my crit for the day.
That's why it's hilarious.
So as you guys come to, the first thing you see is Sentra just diving to the side while holding as much of the heart, the engine, as he can, as just this huge fucking tree trunk slams into the ground next to him. And the canopy above is breached erratically by... It feels like the forest itself is what is attacking you. This thing is impossibly huge, and the ship has been further damaged. Let's get that initiative back up.
It's important to remember we weren't at the ship. We were at Dirt Scritch's place.
Yeah, that's fine. It's still happening here. Alright. Are you running back?
Well,
You probably should.
I do have a plan, but depends on what the situation's like.
Actually, didn't the ship land, like, right next to Dirt Scritch's place?
Not right next to it, there was...
Not right next to it, but right next to it enough.
Yeah, it was, like, not even 30, 45 seconds away. Let me put all your tokens up so I can give you initiative. No thanks. I don't know why I put Catherine on there. Catherine's not here. Virgil is. Add turn. Why can't I add a turn? Wow, this isn't cooperating at all. Alright, well, all we need to worry about is Virgil first, Amalia second, and let me roll for Yaroth. Are you here, Yaroth, by the way? Hello?
I'm not off today.
Do you want to, like a combat's happening? Are you feeling equipped for that?
Nope. Cannot. Seems I cannot use the spell right now.
Do you want me to roll for you?
Play for me.
Alright, sure. So, yeah. Virgil, then Amalia, then Albus. Let's roll for
Oh, that one.
Sentra. Virgil, then Sentra, then Amalia, then Albus. That's all we really need to care about, because... So, yeah, you guys are right outside Dirt Scritch's place. You see all of this happening just from your higher vantage point and the ambient light of the jungle through the canopy being breached like hundreds of feet above you. Virgil, what would you like to do?
Is what I'm looking at the thing?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, good luck.
Okay. And it is specifically most definitely after us?
You're not sure. It
Does it look like?
roll intelligence.
Okay. Yeah, not sure.
And your best guess seems to be flailing wildly. Like moving about in a chaotic rage.
Alright, I think something woke it up. Hmm. Hmm. Uh, uh, mm, I don't really have things that deal with giant trees. Where's Kavee when you need her?
You don't know? What a shame.
That thing can fucking cleave through bullshit. Where's my sloth buddy?
What's your
where
passive
is the sloth?
perception?
Passive perception is 14.
You see 3 massive scars going down one of the tree trunks that look like they would match the sloth buddy's claws. However, you don't see
Hell
you
yeah.
don't see the sloth itself right now.
He's doing his best, and I'm proud of him. Gosh, I really. That thing's huge. Hiding would be damn near. Well, no. Big enough gate. I can probably hide.
Yeah, you can just roll stealth. There's a bunch of cave systems.
Yeah, there's a bunch of cave systems. Can get out of the way that way and see if it's actually heading for us. Because if it does, we'll at least know that. So.
It's sort of big enough that even though it's at where the ship is, it's also at where you are, and it's a good way past where you are too.
It's just kind of fucking everywhere because it's huge.
It's a bunch of fucking tree trunks, yeah.
It's kind of hilarious that you don't have the climbing system in this one. Imagine climbing that.
Oh yeah, you're gonna climb that and what? Just like punch his branches off.
Maybe, I don't know. Let's ask you. Start burning it from the top. Maybe the head, maybe the brain's at the head. I don't know.
Sure. I'll throw a fireball at it. That way it can be giant, annoyed, also on fire.
And on fire!
So you're gonna hide?
Yeah, let's try and get the hell out of Dodge.
Alright, describe how you're
Or
doing
at least
it.
out of its sight.
Describe how you're doing it and roll stealth.
We're at dirt scritches. Surely there was a cave system relatively close by.
All right, so you just
We
swing down off one of the balconies of dirt scritches and like do a sliding tackle down into one of the caves. And just kind of hide behind a boulder.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Please don't
I think that passes.
yell at me for what you're about to see. Give me just a second.
No promises.
Here's this.
Oh, adorable.
Ah! Woo!
Show nameplate.
Wyatt, because you're listening, this is a clock. Just straight up clock. So
So this clock
enjoy that piece of information.
is for destroying the rest of the ship utterly. And it's here right now. And then we have this, which is compromising the heart. And it is at 0. And, oh, I guess if I put them on tokens, it'll let me name them. Yep. Great. There you go. Clocks. What would you like to do, Sentra? Sentra's doing what he's doing. What would you like to do, Amalia?
What is Centra doing?
You can't see from here. He's doing what I described. He's doing his best to protect the heart.
Alright. So Amalia sees this giant ass motherfucking tree stomping around. And she is going to yell out. Rather than run away, not sure what we can do to stop it from destroying the ship, but actually, all right. So, can I see where Virgil's went?
Oh yeah, you see where Virgil went. You see him slide down into a cave.
Great.
You don't see him anymore, but you saw where he went.
So Amalia is just going to shout. Actually, what is Dirt? How is Dirt Scritch's house doing right now?
The top half of it, the tree entirely is gone. It's been assimilated into the crawling Acalia.
Where was Amalia sleeping when we stayed here the first night?
I believe you were sleeping probably higher up. Not quite high up enough for it to not exist anymore, but a couple levels higher than you currently are.
Because there's a teleport circle up there.
Would you like to teleport upwards? Or are you going to the ship, or?
The quickest way back to the ship is getting to the teleport circle and using that instead.
It absolutely is. So what would you like to do?
Yeah, Amalia is going to yell out about the teleport circle on the upper level, and then she's going to make a break for herself.
You make it there using just your movement. What else would you like to do?
Now then, here's the real question. Can they activate it without me?
No.
Great. So you guys need to get up here, and while we're waiting for that, does it look like it's gonna step on me or anything?
It might. Accidentally. It's moving a whole lot.
Right, so I am going to hold my action while I'm waiting, and if it looks like a limb or something is gonna crash down on me, I will take action then.
Alright. Albus immediately starts climbing his way up to you. He gives you both a temp health shield. Back to your turn, Virgil. Are you going to stay hidden, or do you want to go up to the teleportation circle?
He's gonna complain about it, but he's gonna follow the boss's orders. If we die, I'm haunting you. So,
So fucking lucky to haunt me.
Alright.
right.
Ooh. So, all the way up where you are, Amalia, you watch as Sentra is basically just trying to body tackle the heart out of the way of the flailing of this monstrosity, and all of a sudden you see a huge just hail of bark shrapnel shot at the two of them. A bunch of the bark sticks into the heart, particularly large shard gashes down Sentra's chest. Oh, it's not good. Yeah, it's not good at all. Heart is officially compromised. And everyone is up at the teleportation circle. You come out of the deck of the ship. Almost immediately, the ground underneath you guys is just split apart, rendering the teleportation circle you just appeared through completely inert by a twisting series of vines. Everyone make a dex saving throw.
Well, I'll be damned.
Jesus Christ. Amalia?
I'm just sitting in awe of that for a second.
Alright, so Virgil, you're gonna take half unless you have evasion, which you do.
I'm gonna search that then if there's damage involved.
Alright. I suppose Albus will also surge. Because I don't want Albus to die.
How much was the temp health shield, by the way?
Temple Shield is... Wait. My bad. 13.
What a shame. That 1 HP will be the death of us.
Alright, so you and Albus succeed instead of fail. And take only 13 piercing damage as the wooden shrapnel sprays out all over you.
Easy to go. Little high, little low.
Sentra is screaming in pain, and it looks like he's pinned under a good portion of the heart that has now fallen on him. The heart itself is like probably as big as a chest of drawers, except it's this big fluid-filled organ, so it's really fucking heavy. He was also injured from your guys' ventures down into the caves, so he's not looking too great right now. This progresses by 1. And what would you like to do, Amalia?
Well, we need to drive off somehow. I would like to do a general investigation just to see if there's anything around here we can make use of in our efforts to do that.
Roll investigation. Everyone still has their rerolls. You want 16 to cut it?
Nah, we'll reroll. I think I can do better than 3.
So, as you were saying,
I hate that your worst investigation roll is a 14.
I hate that too. I hate that Malia has so much to contribute in this fight, but Virgil's the one getting all the crits.
So, you want to exert the 16, or?
Sure. Fuck it. Let's def.
This thing feels like it is flailing indiscriminately. To drive it off, you're gonna need some absurdly powerful firepower. Maybe calming it down would help, but you have no idea how to do that. Let's see. So, you think really hard, because this is a 21. And if this thing is the echo of the Indestructible, and the Indestructible is mad because one of its limbs got disintegrated by a timekeeper, maybe your best bet is for this to be a two-pronged assault. From both here and from Eden.
Virgil, why couldn't you have talked about the sloth when you had the chance? Okay.
Oh yeah, now that you guys are here, you see the sloth. The sloth is just holding up one of the tree trunks that tried to smash him.
Alright, we're gonna need to deal with this thing from both ends. Which means some of us will need to go into. She doesn't finish a sentence. Mindful eccentric here.
Well, I can't do anything against that. But I can round up the timekeepers in Eden, so. Guess I'm doing that.
Yeah, why don't you do that? Maybe Albus try and keep me alive, and I'll see what I can do about it out here.
So Virgil, when you say this, you feel a tug on your wrist. Not the scar, but the tug that was new after you had had that interaction with Cecil.
Interesting.
You want to focus on
But
it?
now's not the time.
You want to focus on it?
Sure.
Thank you. Roll a charisma
Also-
saving throw. You may choose to fail.
Also, just as a thing,
Hmm.
why is Sentra carrying the heart?
What do you mean? Why is he carrying the heart? Centra is
Doesn't matter.
pancaked underneath the heart right now.
Yeah, but
Why was he carrying it in the first place?
He wasn't.
Yeah, it's me and Amalia's inventory this entire time.
The heart is like
Huge.
it's bigger than a king-sized bed. It can't be in an inventory.
Okay, I think I will choose to fail this charisma saving throw.
Great. Charisma save.
Just call it a hunch.
Charisma save from Cecil, Catherine, Albus, and Amalia.
Wait, hold up. Me?
Yep.
Why me?
Because
Where am
because
I?
he's going to Eden,
You're-
and therefore
somewhere, I'm sure.
Alright.
he's trying to go into Eden, and because he's trying to go into Eden, he's going to drag the rest of us with him.
That's terrible. Alright.
It's the only choice we have.
No, it isn't. Anyways,
I'm gonna give you guys
What?
some secret insider knowledge. This is a DC 1 charisma save. This is essentially you guys being able to go in a staggered flow instead of all being noped in there at once.
yeah, I don't wanna go to bed in a Zitra's bed.
You didn't go to bed. This would have been while you were crawling through the vents anyways.
Oh, okay.
Like imagine if this happens while you're like over the big corpse pile. Yeah, awful.
Just goes to bed.
So if anybody else
Good night.
wants to choose to fail, they can. Catherine, do you want to choose to fail?
Nah.
All right. So Virgil, you, poink. You are back in Antikythera once again on the massive balcony that is currently being like just wrenched from its perch by one of these shadow arms. At this point, you can see that Antikythera is almost caving in on itself. I'm going to unhide this clock. Uh-oh, spaghetti. Integrity of Antikythera. There it is. It's caving in on itself. This thing has a tangible head that is screaming in rage thousands of feet in front of you. And little dots on different parts of Antikythera, almost on little balconies like yours that are just super far off. You can see little timekeepers aggregating in this massive, this massive cavity in the center of Antikythera. You just need to get to some of them and get them in contact with the physicality of the indestructible.
It's a good thing I'm agile.
Sure is. So Amalia, basically as soon as you make the suggestion, Virgil just passes out and slumps to the ground next to you.
Alright, just leave me to tidy up your corpse now.
What do you want to do?
So, putting the obvious thing to the side for now. So this thing's flailing around. Alright, I know it's like pissed off and flailing. Does it look like it has any form of intelligence at all? Because if it's an echo of denizen, you presume the denizen has some form of intelligence, some sentience.
Another intelligence check.
Just raw intelligence.
Investigation, whatever you want to roll. This is, yeah, so if it has intelligence, it is not smart enough for that intelligence to pierce through this incredibly thick veil of just anguish and rage and fury. This thing is currently operating under the berserk status, so what that means for its intelligence, you don't really know. Or rather, if it's smart, it's not smart enough to retain that smart while it's mad.
Great. Alright. I'll file away on our plan B. And we'll go with plan A, which is trying to lure it away from the ship. So, yeah, okay. I'm gonna take the dash action.
Okay.
I am going to run insofar as I'm in line with whatever it considers a face.
You can't see a face.
Alright, just whatever my puny monkey brain considers the front of it.
Okay.
And then I am going to tap the quicken materia and I'm throw fireball at it.
All right. So you need to roll an acrobatics to get to where you need to be, because it's a decent way up a couple of the large trees comprising this thing's mass, and it just barely puts you in range to shoot at this thing's center of mass with a fireball. So let's see that acrobatics check. I would also forgive an athletics check.
I'm not having a good day.
Would anybody like to donate their reroll to Amalia?
Sure.
There it is. All right, so describe how you make your way up and shoot a fireball into this thing's head.
So Amalia is going to have to get. Yeah, I guess she's gonna find the nearest tall tree. She's gonna monkey her way up to the top of it, and she is going to basically charge the fireball as she's going, and then as she reaches the top of the tree, she is going to lob it at the monster, and then she is going to dive back down the tree line into the forest.
Perfect. You want to yell anything?
Yes. She's going to intone it, so more fire.
More fire indeed. Roll damage. It can't make the save.
fireball. Be nice. Not bad.
Alright, good job. So you hurl the fireball, it slams into the side of this thing's head, and the madness with which it's moving slows and then stops as it turns and hunches down to look at you at eye level. Roll a wisdom saving throw.
It really made me work for this today.
This thing is not to be trifled with.
Right, I will react to that with.
Alright, go ahead and roll with advantage. There you go. So you feel the air start to compress around you, and a presence start to snake its way into your ears, further down into your mind, before you just start to repel it with a single utterance. The humming that was all of a sudden surrounding you vanishes, and then a violent concussive blast just shoves you back 10 feet, but you're not hurt. Albus is going to go give Sentra advantage on his strength. Actually, Albus is going to make an intelligence-based athletics check to pull the heart off of Sentra using his hover gauntlets.
Those things are so cool.
So, +6. Yep, so the heart is slowly rolled up off of Sentra, who is now gasping for air. And then Albus is going to bonus action to shield around him as well. 20 plus 4, that should have been a 1d10. So 8. Tragic use of a crit.
It's okay, we discovered that it's not a based seed, so we're good.
Yep. So now that Sentra is free, you see something, Virgil. You see an echo of a beast and just pounce at one of the limbs of the indestructible and make contact with it and start tearing into it. In the real world, this is Sentra going completely bestial. He sort of transforms his little metal hand into a gun and starts using it to deal these concussive punches that shoot ballistic shrapnel. He's knocking off huge chunks of bark and like the pulpy flesh underneath, and then his left arm just lights on fire for whatever reason, and he buries it into the hole that he.
Or whatever.
I mean, hey, he buries it into the hole that he had just torn open in the crawl
Sorry.
Natalia.
This hand of mine is burning
And
red.
as he is screaming, he starts to burn out what looks like a fungus.
Oh, mother.
Your turn, Amalia.
Do I see the fungus?
No, you're too far away. You dash actioned away. You're focusing on something else.
Alright, so it's now focused on me and has clarity, yeah?
Yes. However much clarity it can have.
One second while I check something.
No problem.
Wise words to live by. Alright. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna run this gambit. 1 second. Alright, so it is definitely got his attention on me, right?
Yep.
So I don't need to Great.
You're not sure if it only has this one head or if it has more, but this thing's looking at you.
Great. So I am going to, using the cover of the trees, I'm gonna move.
Do you see the cover of the tree?
Yeah, the trees it hasn't knocked down yet. I know it is literally just a living forest, but I'm presuming not all the trees are it. I had to climb up a tree to throw a fireball at. Yeah.
Yep.
We're all doing the best we can here today.
Yeah, so moving there, keeping it in sight. I am going to cast Sending.
On.
I'm going to cast Sending on it.
All right. What do you say?
It's 25 words.
No problem. All right. Your turn, Virgil. What would you like to do? I'll come up with a response to that as best as I can.
Well, I guess it's time to gather up some little timekeepers. Play hopscotch to get them all. How does this look? How far away are the balconies and blah blah blah?
Hundreds and hundreds of feet. But they are below you, and there's so much machinery between you and them that
I can conceivably acrobatically kick my way down.
yeah.
Cool. While he's doing that, he's gonna grab the corkscrew arm and be like, alright, I'm doing a citizen denizen bullshit, so if you want to help, now's the time. And acrobatics my way down
Yep.
to one of them.
16
You know,
more.
This is what you get back, Amalia. So, 8.
you know, I think I'm gonna re-roll that. Oh my god, what are the odds? It's all coming crashing down.
All right.
There,
What's up?
Sending spell says that if I have an intelligence of more than one, I understand the meaning of the message.
Yeah, that's the meaning of the
That's
message.
okay.
That is not the meaning
I'm-
of the message, that is words. What is the intention behind the message?
The intention behind the message is, basically a verbal representation of what it's been doing.
So it's basically what you're saying is the message is basically, "Ah!"
Yes, except much more horribly esoteric.
Well, yeah, but the intent behind it, like echo effect, rah, rah, rah.
Okay, the intent behind
Um,
its response to your sending message was to somehow assimilate you, but sending doesn't allow that, so it didn't work.
So I guess I'm gonna surge the 8.
Alright, go ahead. 15.
15?
Um,
That's better, right?
are you going down, up, or lateral?
Um, what the fuck is lateral is across, right?
Yes.
Okay, so then yes, lateral, because then I can go. If I get everything there, I can get the down ones on the way up to them. So
Sorry, repeat that?
lateral because it'll be a hard time getting down,
Alright, no problem.
getting back up from when I get down.
It's fair.
So this was the easiest.
So you just go hurtling across the machinery as best as you can. Describe how you're moving. I can do it if you
All
want.
fours hopping from machinery to machinery, bit to bit, just leap,
Alright,
leap,
yeah,
leap,
perfect.
run, leap,
Yeah,
leap,
that's
leap, leap,
awesome.
leap, leap.
You
Just fucking cat leaping across.
so you're double dashing, right?
You said they were hundreds of feet across, so yeah, I guess so.
Alright, so you're basically out of breath by the time you reach another balcony, and here there's a timekeeper that looks a little different. It's hunched over, looks very concerned. The fucking indestructible reaches up one of its massive shadow limbs and just tears through the structure of Antikythera that you were just like traversing. And this progresses by 1 because it got a fucking 7. The timekeeper looks at you. Looks like they're panicked. They have like this sort of large sort of oblong kind of xenomorph head.
It's alright. We're gonna gather everyone and we're just gonna fucking keep that time on that bitch forever. We got this. Trust me.
It nods. It understands you, and it just fucking it rapidly gestures towards a series of levers behind it.
Right. Let's go. Ah, fuck.
So you pull one of the levers, specifically the one
Yep.
it directed you to. Perfect.
Yep.
The platform you're on starts rapidly elevating as it slides along an indentation in the machinery that it's attached to, as you just sort of up along the interior of Antikythera. You're going towards another balcony. Roll a dex save. Nice.
I'm good at those. It's okay.
You take no damage. Half of the balcony is taken out as a blast of shadow is shot from the Echo's head, and it just completely destroys the portion of the balcony that it had impacted. Timekeeper's fine. Sentra is gonna keep attacking it. And what are you gonna do, Amalia?
Just had to be like, oh, you couldn't see the fungus, didn't you?
You knew the folklore that had been attributed to the crawling Acalia, that it's crawling Acalia is not necessarily the tree that's sentient, it's the tree having been hollowed out and rotted away on the interior over time, and then commandeered as a massive vehicle by fungus. So you should still know that.
Great. Alright. Well, we know how to deal with fungus in these parts. Let me just. Yeah, right. So when I throw the fireball at it, are there any lingering flames on it?
Yeah. Looks like it caught in a few places, but it's so large, and a lot of it is pretty moist, and some of it's kind of rotted. So getting the whole thing to catch would A, be catastrophic for the entirety of this region, and B, would take a really long time to accomplish.
Hmm. What if I'm just trying to do enough to it so that I'm presuming there's like a colony of fungus, and if I do enough damage to it, that it's no longer worth
And do you wanna
absorbing.
try getting on the inside?
Yeah, sure.
You surmise that with a powerful enough fire punch, you could do just that if you found a weak spot in the wood.
Gee, I wonder if there's a weak spot in the wood.
So, it's gonna flail around. Is that good or bad?
Well, up to date, high is great.
Nice. All right. So, the heart
Had to call it eventually.
is thankfully spared this particular onslaught. However, a massive tree trunk is just hurtling towards you, Amalia. Does an 18 hit?
Not with the shield, no.
All right. So, this tree trunk is hurtling towards you. Describe how you shield it.
So I'm gonna say that as this tree chunk is hurtling towards me, I just stand my ground, bring up the shield, and I'm just gonna shield bash it. So the tree trunk just narrowly misses her.
So
Just-
you bring up the shield and it punches the hole through the trunk that you were about to do with a firearm, and you're now on the interior.
yeah. All right. What is it look like in here?
It looks like a whole bunch of hollowed out, rotted wood, and just fungal networks just crawling everywhere. The interior of this trunk is large enough for you to conceivably, like, stand on one of the sides.
Great. I'm looking for any indication of where the fungus is concentrated.
Probably the torso region, which you can really easily infer is further up the arm and then through whatever joint attaches it to the crawling Acalia. So you want to start making your way?
Yep.
Roll athletics. So you make a decent amount of distance, but as you're going through the tree, a portion that you're on the interior just crunches in against itself. You take 23 bludgeoning damage as you're momentarily smashed between the bits of fungus and wood, but as the arm on the exterior re-straightens back out, you can get out of that area and keep going.
Great.
I'm going to make a new clock called Amalia's distance from fungal core. Clocks. Clocks, everyone.
Clocks. Keep saying clocks until it doesn't sound like a word anymore.
Distance
I'm sure it doesn't to Wyatt.
from core.
Oh. Are you telling me that my fireball and Sentra's going berserk and it did 4 segments?
4 out of 36, correct.
Great.
All right. And with that, we are going to cut back to Cecil.
Okay. Wow. Cool.
Okay.
Cool fight. By the way, I don't know why you cut back to me, but all right. Hell, okay. I'm fine with that. I'm not against that at all.
So, for a reason, you're getting ready to go stealth around Azitra because you can still smell her down there.
If I fall asleep, I'm killing myself and then you.
You feel kind of this pang of tiredness hit you, but it's really easy to overpower. So you do. And then far in the distance, just out one of the windows of this place, you see basically the canopy version of this fight going on, and you can't really fathom what's happening, so you probably choose to ignore it, or you don't.
Yeah. Cecil's got more pressing, real, tangible, physical problems to deal with right now.
Alright, go ahead and roll stealth.
Alright. Cecil crouches down and attempts to go past it. Ozitra.
So the room at the bottom of the stairs is it's kind of interesting in that it's not floored. It's sort of a cavity with a bunch of these broad catwalks, except they don't have rails, so it's rafters, and it descends all the way down to the floor of the Colosseum. Oh, sorry. Go on. These catwalks themselves are sort of decorated, and it looks like they're intended to be walked upon, and they lead in a bunch of different directions and curve around as opposed to just being a grid. They lead to a variety of rooms, and Ozitra is currently talking to 2 black-robed Fire, probably a good 30 feet on one of the catwalks. It looks like they're going to be pretty easy to get past as long as you don't obviously walk along the catwalks. How do you stealth around them? And also, where are you trying to go?
Down, away from here, back down to a tier that is available.
Okay, so a few of the walkways look like they lead to little stone archways that lead to more stairs that would descend. So that's probably what you're trying to get to.
Excellent.
Yeah, describe how you get there.
I think Cecil, partially just slides down one of the walls in a way, and if that makes sense, drops off from where he was at a point, grabs onto something, sidles across it with his hands, and then drops down to another point.
Okay, so you're doing the wall platforming that would be in an Assassin's Creed or a God of War game.
Basically, yeah. Nothing special, just good old fashioned clandestinery.
All right, so you slip out and around one of the walls of the stone arches, and you're once again out in the open air on a staircase that is corkscrewing down the outside of this level with no railing, and it's a pretty steep drop.
How steep?
Outside Yes. At least down to it's time for freehand.
Oh god.
So you're on this part.
Yeah.
The rest of the tiered gardens are this part. So you would hit more tiered gardens before you hit the forest floor, which would be way, way, way down. And it's probably a good 100 feet down to the next level of the tiered gardens.
And that's available to use the stairs down for.
The stairs conceivably go down to the same place, just much slower.
Alright. Cecil takes the stairs.
Alright, you take the stairs.
He's got a lot of cash. He doesn't want to lose any on the fall.
it seems like this place is much more sparsely populated than the lower areas of the tiered gardens. At least by Fire A members, you run into a lot of echoes, and they seem to be frantically running around. Some of them like phase weirdly through you as if you're incorporeal to them.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess this means this guy is doing the thing.
I see. Um. So yeah, Cecil's just trying to go down as fast as possible. And actually, specifically, find himself somewhere outside of the tiered gardens that he can abscond from.
With the hang glider?
Yeah, with a hang glider.
Yep, great. So you get down to where the stairs would sort of deposit you into the lower levels, except you can just walk around like the top of them on the outside instead of going down further beneath the stairs. Does that make
I
sense?
see.
So
Yeah, it does.
yeah, so you're just running around on the rooftop of one of the lower tiers of the where you are. You get to the edge, and if you want to hang glider off, you can.
All right. Now, from this excellent vantage point, could we switch over maps? Actually, I want to look at something. Eric?
I'm doing it.
Oh, thank you.
Bada bing.
So hang gliding off of this, where could I land that looks like a large population of people?
I'll give you a radius, and then I'll let you decide.
Excellent. Because the tiered gardens is pretty high up there. So this would give me a lot of airtime if I successfully hang glide.
Yes.
A lot of time to think. That's my radius,
Hold
huh?
up. There you go.
Can I roll history to remember whether or not this place uses money?
Yeah, sure. It's a really easy check.
Then,
You've been through Cherville. They sure didn't.
okay. Cecil's gonna try and leg it to the lake town.
Here?
Yes.
Hell yeah. All right, so give me 3 rolls of your choice and justify how they're going into this hang gliding check,
All right. Acrobatics.
because you have to do the running and the jumping. Makes sense.
Yes, exactly. To activate the hang glider out like whilst jumping off like Aang does.
Perfect.
You know what I mean?
Perfect. All right.
I'm gonna exert that, and I'll explain to you why it's perception.
No problem.
18. Because you have to tell where the wind is going,
It's true.
and so, I mean, that makes sense to me.
It absolutely makes sense. Would you like to?
So following currents of the wind, etc., etc.
Would you like to exert either of the other two?
I'll exert the sleight of hand because I'm not gonna take much more damage. Hopefully, 4 is okay. 4 makes that a 19.
Great. So you run out and you wait for the wind to stop just annoyingly blowing east like it has been. And as soon as the wind lets up enough, you run, you jump, you break this thing out, and then you're zooming and
Woo!
and you're on course. And you're pretty confident about it for like the first good 400, 500 feet. And you're descending, and then all of a sudden, this huge fucking updraft just slams into you and sends you this way. And
Is there any way to correct this?
it's make a roll and justify it, but your altitude's also getting blasted way, way up. And you're getting cold, and you're gonna need a con save.
Wait. Going up, you say?
Yeah, you're getting hit with an updraft.
Alright, easy. Altitude controller won't even take any damage. just stick myself onto it and then place myself under it.
You're
Spinning the altitude controller, right?
anchors it
And
in
then
the air. Yes.
anchoring it in the air and like holding it up and then to my chest, so I am holding on, like, so it's keeping me from going any higher up.
So the problem is that it also anchors you horizontally.
Yeah, but then there's enough of a draft that I could just drop with the hang glider and catch like
All right.
wind.
Yeah, that's fair. So
So this is just a this is a small
yeah,
stop.
is high good or bad?
Oh, you sack of shit. High is good.
So you successfully do that, and
All right.
the sudden trauma to the hang glider eviscerates the left wing,
How high up am I?
several miles.
All right. So, Eric,
What's up?
am I over water or am I still in the forest
You're
area?
currently over water.
How far over water?
Several miles.
No. Okay, am I miles out, like into the lake, or am I just miles
You're like
next to the land?
You're right here right now.
Oh, right there.
Yeah. You haven't gone that
Oh,
far
that's-
yet. The updraft hit you
Oh,
right
that's
there.
actually that's not that bad. So it eviscerates the left wing. That's fine because, I mean, honestly, that's not the worst land. So Cecil just uses. Can I just use the altitude controller to slowly go down?
So you spin the altitude controller, and it's going to anchor you in place until it stops spinning, and it'll slowly
Yeah.
descend for probably 50 feet before you plummet into a free fall.
Yeah, but you could just spin it again when it hits that 50 feet and just continuously do that until you hit the ground.
Yeah, you could. That's going to be really tiring, but you could. I'm going to say...
Well, from what you've described, the hang glider broke.
well, the left part. You could try to do some kind of crazy jury rig repair in midair, but you didn't. It's fine. So yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna say probably 25 minutes later, you just give up the last 20 feet and just fall into water, and you're exhausted. Your fingers are numb and
Yeah,
like,
I'd imagine.
bleeding, and your arms are blistering, and
Yeah, what damage am I taking here? I'd say quite a bit.
so you
This
take
isn't-
2d6 from 1d6 from the last fall. Take 6 bludgeoning damage, and
Epic.
I'm just gonna say take 2 levels of exhaustion.
Damn.
It's not an injury. You're just exhausted. This is gonna go away when you sleep. Your hair is also a fucking wreck right now.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Just wet and sad. So Cecil kind of just rolls onto, like, you it was pretty close to the
Oh yeah,
land,
you were
right?
essentially on the beach. The current just
Yeah.
pushes you up onto the land.
Cecil washes ashore. Um Does it look like there are, like, beach houses? This is pretty close to the town, mind you. I'd imagine there's some sort
you
of
can
property.
see stone structures, not inhabitable structures, but like sort of almost religious obelisks that are on the sides of a road that lead into the jungle.
Okay.
There's no real
Well,
beach houses though.
How tall are the trees?
The trees here are substantially smaller. They only get up to probably about 20-30 feet.
Okay, so feasibly, I'd be able to see the town from here, right? It doesn't look like it's very far. Like, from what I can see, at least, it looks pretty close to the shoreline.
The trees are pretty dense, and there is you're probably like,
Well, okay.
actually, yeah, I guess
Isn't it-
there's no trees here, so yeah,
right
you can
there, yeah.
you can see the town in the far off distance. It's kind of murky and
Yeah.
smoggy because it's so far on the horizon, but no trees are in the way. You're right.
Alright, well, Cecil shambles his way through.
Great.
He's no rest, no stops, only dog.
And back to tree fighting crew.
Yay.
Tree fight, tree fight.
Cecil could probably buy a boat for Amalia.
You have a lot of money.
That's a lot of cash.
Yeah, just
Anyway.
steal everyone's fucking cash. Duh. So I believe
Steal their cash, steal their organs.
I believe Virgil had crit on initiative. So what would you like to do? Actually,
Well, that's.
you know what? We're gonna
Mm,
finally use one.
Use one what?
We're gonna use one.
mm.
We're gonna use one.
One what?
You'll see. Where the fuck is it? This might take me a second.
Wait, question.
What's up?
If Azitra had money, but the Sylvan District doesn't use money, what does that mean?
So she doesn't have
She's a fucking hypocrite.
she doesn't have coined money. She just has a bunch of precious metals.
I thought you said, maybe I'm wrong, some of it's in coins, some of it's in gems.
Some of it's in
Coins are precious metals.
some of it's in gold.
Oh, so it's, wow, how much gold?
As much as I gave you. You can give
That's-
that to people that accept minted coin, and that's the value it is to them.
Epic.
Yeah, it's lit.
Wow, I hope I don't get robbed. Then again, Cecil looks homeless right now, so I doubt it.
Yo, where is this? Am I stupid?
Yeah,
Am I fucking dumb?
what is it? Because we
Here we
might
go.
not-
Here we go.
Question, is this game over?
Close.
Okay. I am being called currently. I don't know what I should do.
Called what?
Names. No, by a friend. I don't know if I...
Fight them.
I could probably...
We'll probably be over in like 20 minutes.
Alright. That should be enough.
All right. So the this is you, right, Virgil? What are you doing?
What the fuck?
What are you doing? You have two timekeepers.
Well, gotta gather more of them. So, what looks to be the closest next one? Whoops.
So you just used the current balcony you're on as an elevator to get to the top, and there's a second one that you just met up with at the pinnacle of that path. As you're going up to the next one, you see the echo of the crawling Icalia just like rear its fist and punch it into Antikythera. How good or bad?
I'm gonna say high is bad.
Ooh.
Can't win them all.
And it completely consumes a couple of the timekeepers that were down there. And you feel the whole of Antikythera just shudder under the heaving punch. Roll insight.
Okay.
It might be a good idea to like try to get down to the indestructible and see what damage you can do with the two that you've got.
Yeah, because that was a pretty big blow to the structure, so. Plus, there are still some down there, right? That I could collect along the way, maybe even?
Yeah.
Alright, that sounds like a good idea. Let's do that.
All right, roll investigation.
More acrobatically down or investigation?
So you need to get the
Okay.
timekeepers down. It's
True.
and-
So I
and-
need to
yeah.
investigate for a path. Yeah.
So yeah, you find and guide it along these hollow sort of rails that exist in the exterior of Antikythera, and you guide it down to one of the junctures that physically imprisons a portion of the indestructible. How are you going to get the timekeepers there? Give me 3 justifiable skills.
On how to get them there?
Yes.
There are rails, you said?
Yep.
But they can't reach them?
I mean,
Are they
conceivably they
short?
could. It's just that, like, the rails are what the balcony is on, and you'd have to be pretty agile to balance on them.
So that's probably... There's not exactly a guiding skill. Persuasion, I guess?
All right, so that's 1.
No, performance. Performance, because you... Well... Hold
I
up.
would say they both serve the same purpose.
Yeah, fine. Sleight of hand to quickly grab them in case they fall.
All right.
And... Would you be against an investigation again? Because I just rolled it.
Nope. Investigation to do what?
To fucking make sure to make sure that they are on the exact path they need to be on.
Yep, sure. So roll those 3, and tell me if you want to exert any of them. All right, so
Anyone want to give me a reroll for the investigation?
does anyone have one left? Albus does, but he's not here.
I have one.
Oh, yeah, use Fergus's. If he says you can.
If
But
he'll
I'm
give
not-
it to me.
wait, hold up. No, you were the one that didn't give me a reroll one of these times prior.
It's perfectly valid.
No, I'm gonna give you mercy. Take it.
Very well. Wow.
Perfect.
Thank
So yeah, you
Thank you, Fergus.
you really clearly show them the path you want them to take, and then you sort of get ahead of them and guide them along. One of them is about to slip, and instead of touching it yourself because you know you'll disintegrate, you just like hurriedly grab a sort of a jar piece of piping and extend it out to them, and they grab it to right themselves. And if you hadn't crit on the investigation, I guess you wouldn't have noticed that or something. And then you get them across.
Sure.
They
That sounds right.
They slap their hands on the crawling Acalia's echo, excuse me, and the both of them disintegrate. Not the crawling Acalia, the timekeepers.
What the fuck? What? I hope that they're going at it from the inside.
Nope, they're gone. However, on the outside, you all see as the crawling Acalia just starts to necrotically disintegrate in a whole bunch of portions.
Bless you.
Thank you. Look how much damage that did, Caro.
Holy shit.
However, you are out of timekeepers, and a massive chunk of machinery comes to crush you against the indestructible. Does a 24 hit?
A 24 does hit, but I see it coming.
You're right.
Because it's massive. I don't think it'll matter much, but...
You take 97 bludgeoning damage. Halved
That's
to
presumably.
halved to what is that? 45, 48.
I have 52 health.
All right. So this doesn't actually injure you. Describe how this breaks you emotionally, but you manage to escape unscathed.
Um, I I see like, a fucking pendulum from a giant grandfather clock, right?
Yeah, of course.
I just see that just starting to crumb, just thrum, and like his life flashes before his eyes a little bit, but he just fucking bellies, just drops right there. Jesus Christ!
Yeah, it still hits your tail because it's still like erect as you're down, but thankfully
Yeah,
your tail doesn't have
yeah.
enough mass for it to really hurt. And yeah, it makes contact with the indestructible. Several of its bindings just start to break open and plunge down to the bottom of this massive cavity. Amalia, you are 1/4 of the way to the core. What are you doing? Amalia? Amalia, you're muted.
I don't know why,
Yeah.
but there we go.
I have been wondering why I've been saying things and they've not been. That's fine. Anyway, yeah. I guess I want to know what it looks like while this thing's decomposing while I'm inside it.
The portions of it that are decomposing are at its extremities, and you're getting closer and closer to the core, so you don't actually see much of it.
Great.
You see some of the fungal portions start turning black and shriveling up, but it's still pretty healthy. Or at least the
Great.
the necrotic effects haven't reached you yet.
So I want to get to this core as soon as possible, so I'm going to take the dash action.
Okay.
So I'm going to do. Not really what else I can do besides just take the dash action and see how close to the core I can get.
So you I'll update this. So you move and then you use your dash action, which ticks you up twice. You reach the joint connecting the massive limb you were crawling through to the immense interior cavity of the crawling Acalia's central torso. And there is just this spire of twisted fungal mass at the center that is writhing. Portions of it are bleeding away into like these eyes that open, and none of them seem coherent enough to actually focus on anything before they're re-swallowed up by the fungal mass. You start to see a lot more of the corruption lower on, but it is in range of a fireball.
Great.
Got another point of effort?
Well, like to exert, or yeah, I've got another point of effort.
You could quicken another fireball.
Sure, let's quicken our fireball. There's no way this can backfire.
It cannot make a save, and you are hitting the core.
So, and we're going to intone it. So,
How
dear God.
how would you like to kill the crawling Acalia, Amalia?
So, yeah, what I'm going to do is just the entire way that she's been running up this arm, she has been charging the fireball. And I'm going to say when she gets to the joint, she sees it's just out of range, so she leaps off the edge towards the fungal infection, fires the fireball out, and uses the repulsion from that to knock her back onto the ledge to safety.
Perfect. So
Just
you roll backwards into a crouch as you hit the base of the limb that you were just running through. The force of the explosion detaches the trunk of the center of mass of the crawling Acalia from the trunk that you were crawling into, and so the joint all of a sudden opens out into the air, and you are above the canopy of the jungle right now, as the trunk starts to crumple in on itself. Roll a dexterity saving throw. Got any health to exert with?
I've got health to exert. There's something. Can I take Albus's reroll?
Albus is not here. He merely responds, Amalia.
Can he respond with a? No, fair enough. I'm gonna see if there's anything I can do with this. Can I gust of wind myself up?
Yeah, I'll say that gives you a 10 temp health shield.
Great. I'll exert the dexterity save then.
Let's see it. Nice, 18. So instead of taking that, you just take this. No, it would be. And then. So you take 56 total.
Wow.
How much health did you have with the temp health?
I had 16 to start with, so -9. I'm definitely at 0.
Okay, did you get to 0 from the 41 or the 15?
I got to 0 from the 41.
Great. So the 41 is a severe injury, which is going to tick you 3 into your exhaustion, and it's just going to be battered and broken. You've broken so many bones that zeroing in on your limbs is a little inconsequential. Your movement is functionally 0, and you can't make attacks, at least physical attacks. You can still cast spells. And then you get a mild injury from the 15, which bumps you to 4 levels of exhaustion. And this one's going to be a concussion, as you impact the canopy with so much force that you break several large branches off of their trunks, and then you fall the 100 feet back down to the forest floor, albeit braced by the, all the verdance that is down here, and you're just lying on your back with twigs and scrapes and blood just. However,
Yep.
as you're lying down here, you see the crawling Acalia just engulf from the interior out in fire as the necrosis crawling up its arms just completely disintegrates it.
Everything I am is pain.
Now that's epic.
Is high good or bad?
You know what? High is great.
As always.
All right, you land right in front of Dirt Scritch's house.
That's pretty funny.
Virgil, Antikythera collapses around you as the indestructible at its core doesn't exist anymore. And it implodes, you die, and wake up.
I better get a reward for this.
And wake up on the surface of the ship. Centra is lying face down in a pool of blood, which might be his, might be somebody else's, it's probably his. And Albus is sort of hunched over him. The heart Looks like after that initial hit it got from the bark shrapnel to be okay, and the ship itself, like after you guys got out of dodge and the flailing attacks of the crawling Acalia stopped happening in the vicinity of the ship, it looks pretty fine too.
That's good. Center does not look pretty fine though, so
He does not.
time to do the thing.
However, Cecil, you as you're making your way towards the village,
Yep.
somebody approaches you.
Uh-oh.
It looks to be a Folian that is sort of gingerly approaching you with a bowl of this really savory smelling broth and what looks to be some kind of bandage kit. Are you okay?
I believe I've just fallen a good mile and a half.
And
No.
and they just start they understand, and they sort of, if you let them, choose to help you along back to their abode.
That would be much appreciated.
And that's where
They
we're gonna leave off.
that's simply epic.
Good job, guys. You beat the boss fight.
The boss
Two
fight.
for two for two.